The lady is asking, what's your name? Nidhi. Lady is asking, what is the ultimate purpose of life? And she has already presented us with two options. One, earning money, and second, happiness, right? All right, sit down, Nidhi. So what has Nidhi asked? What is the ultimate purpose of life? Earning money or happiness? But you already know. You have already discounted everything else and zeroed on to two options. What are they? That either the purpose could be to earn money or it could be to be happy. All right, let's first look at these two that Nidhi has given us. What does one earn money for? What does one earn money for? Livelihood. And why does one want a livelihood? Yeah? Comfort. What does comfort give you? So it is very obvious that if one has to choose between money and happiness, one would quickly choose happiness, because the very purpose of money is happiness. Right? See, you have a 500 rupees note with you. That is what you call as money. If that 500 rupees note can buy you nothing, or if it can only buy you those things which will not give you happiness, will there be any worth of that 500 rupee note? If that 500 rupees note can only buy you stuff which will not give you happiness, will there be any value of that note? So money has a value only if it can give you happiness. So between money and happiness, one obviously decides for happiness. That is the easy part. That is the obvious part. But what is this animal called happiness? We are saying the purpose of life is happiness, but what is this happiness? What is this happiness? If we do an experiment, a small experiment right now, that so many of you are sitting here, and if I ask you to write down what makes you happy, write down 5 points. And then I ask you to exchange your sheets with your neighbor, what would you find? Right? You would have written vastly differing points. In fact, some of the points would be contrasting, would be opposites of each other. Now, how does one decide what makes him happy? How does the mind decide what makes it happy? How do you come to say that this is what gives me happiness? All right. There is a particular tournament going on. An Indian cricket team would be meeting the South African cricket team, right? Dale Steyn sends down a beautiful Yorker and the Indian batsman is bowled out. Who would be happy? Who would be happy? These are South African supporters, these are Indian supporters. Who would be happy? This side would be happy, and this side would not be happy. The next batsman who comes in, he sends the next ball into the stands, straight 6, 80 meters. Who would be happy? How do you come to see what makes you happy? How do you decide your happiness? Why is this side happy? When the Indian batsman got out, why did this side become happy? Quickly, it's simple, obvious.
कंडीशन अप्लाइड
What is the condition?
इंडिया का सपोर्ट कर रहे हो इंडिया
Why does the South African side become happy when the South African bowler gets a wicket? Why does it become happy? Yes? All right. We rewind. We go back into the past. Now, these are 2-year-old South African kids and these are 2-year-old Indian kids. The same event is happening. The same event. The South African bowler has bowled out an Indian batsman, and these are 2-year-old or 3-year-old South African kids. Would they still be happy? Now they are 8 years old, and you are also 8 years old. The same event happens. Would they be happy? Probably yes. Yes. What has changed between 3 years and 8 years? What has changed? If the same thing had changed between this and this, how are their happinesses different? What has happened between 3 and 8 years of age? He has developed an ego. And what has he been told? Because ego comes from outside, right? What has he been told? What has this side been told? You are a South African, and hence when your team wins, you should be happy. What has this side been told? So when your batsman hits a 6, you should be happy. All this is trained happiness. Can we even call that it is their happiness? But the fellow will say, I am feeling happy. When the very thought of when to feel happy has been drilled inside you by somebody else, can you even claim that this is my happiness? Are you getting it? Do we even have the right to say that I am feeling happy when my happiness is a totally conditioned and trained happiness? I have been trained to feel happy in certain situations, and the other side has been trained to feel happy in just the opposite situation. So there is no truth in this happiness. You feel happy when X happens, you feel happy when Y happens. Because you have been trained to feel happy when X happens, and he has been trained to feel happy when. Now suppose one kid from this side accidentally came over to this side when he was 3 years old. He would also feel happy when X happens, right? There is nothing intrinsic in this happiness, nothing innate. It's just that you are born in a particular land, you are surrounded by a particular kind of people who have constantly told you that this is what is meant by happiness. When this happens, start laughing. This is happiness. When an Indian batsman hits something for a 6, start laughing. This is happiness. All this is conditioning, not really happiness. We do not not know what is it to be happy. Look at it. You go to school, and as a kid, when you go to school, school is just another place where you meet few other kids, and there is a building, and something is there, and toys are there, and teacher is saying something. And then, as you become 6 years old, 8 years old, you are told that if you come first in the class, then it's a matter of great celebration. You will get a new dress, you will get a cake, and we'll all laugh. So what is the message that goes to the kid's mind? What is happiness? What is happiness? So he learns that coming first in the class is called happiness. He picks up a journal, a magazine, and on the cover page of the magazine is the photo of a board exam topper, and he is smiling, and everybody is congratulating him. Now the child himself has not even written the board exams, but he looks at all those faces and comes to the conclusion that this must be called, oh, so everybody is laughing when somebody tops the board exam, so surely this must be happiness. You are being trained into believing that this is what is happiness. Then you go and watch a movie in which there is a man who is living in a huge mansion and riding a mammoth car, 8 wheels. I don't know how many, 18 wheels. And it is being displayed with great fanfare. What is the conclusion that your mind draws? That this must be happiness. Oh, so happiness means having a great palace, lots of money, and this big car. Then after that, as you move in life, what do you see? Somebody got married, and after a couple of years of marriage, they post a photograph on Facebook in which they are holding a baby in their hands. And the woman is smiling from ear to ear. No, you do not know anything about having babies. You haven't had a baby yet. But you look at the face of that woman and that huge smile, and what do you infer? That this must be called happiness. This surely is happiness. Otherwise, why is she grinning so much? Now you go and ask that woman, why are you grinning so much? She'll say, because everybody told me that this is happiness. Having a baby is happiness. Acha, who told you? Those 3 people told me that this is called happiness. You go to those 3 people. Why did you tell her that this is happiness? Oh, everybody told me that this is called happiness. Is it really happiness? And if it is really happiness, why does it fade away so soon? Why does it always have sadness lurking around? In fact, why does it require sadness for its presence? If it is really happiness. Have you noticed this? That you cannot be happy unless you are sad. And the deeper is your sadness, the greater is the possibility of happiness. Results are about to be declared. There are 2 subjects. One in which you are apprehensive that you might fail, and the other in which you are confident that you will pass. You go there and you find that you have passed both the subjects. What makes you more happy? Passing the one in which you are already confident, or passing the one in which you are afraid that you might fail? What makes you more happy? So you are happy only if you are tense. And the deeper is the tension, the greater is the happiness. If you go there sweating, terrified, trembling, I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail, and you find that you have passed, you will start dancing. You will be so happy. Such is the stupidity of happiness. How can this stupid thing be the purpose of life, Nidhi? The common happiness that we know, I have said it has two characteristics. One, it is an acquired conditioning. And second, it depends on the presence of sadness. So if you want to be happy, you must be sad. How many of you want deep happiness? You must go and first become deeply sad. Obviously, this kind of happiness is of no use. It is coming from others. It is situation dependent. There is no intelligence in it. There is another happiness that is called joy. Joy is not a product of conditioning. Joy is not a product of anything. Joy does not depend upon situations, and joy is not stupid. Joy is reasonless. I said joy is not a product of anything. It is uncaused. It is reasonless. How do you know whether you are joyful or you are just happy? If there is a reason behind your happiness, then it is the stupid kind of happiness. If somebody asks you, you are looking so happy, what is the reason? And you are able to come up with a reason, you are able to tell the reason, then you should know that this is that stupid kind of happiness, acquired conditioning. However, if you find that you are light, the mind is playful, you are unnecessarily singing a song, and there is no reason why you are doing all this, then you should know that you have discovered real happiness. And that real happiness, we will not even call as happiness, we will call it as joy. Unreasonable happiness is called joy. That happiness which does not come to you as a product of circumstances. That happiness which cannot be taken away by others. That happiness that you do not work for and attain. That happiness which does not lie in the future. That happiness is called joy. Are you getting it? It's wonderful to be happy. But you hurt yourself if your happiness is that stupid variety of happiness. Because that happiness will definitely turn into sadness. Stupid happiness is waiting to turn into sadness. It depends upon its opposite. I'm asking you, quickly, effortlessly find that happiness which nobody has given you and nobody can take away, which is your own nature. Lightness. Yeah? Simple, pure lightness. A lightness in which you understand. A lightness in which you are not bogged down. You are not feeling threatened. You are not afraid. And you know what happens when you are not afraid, when you are joyful? You become capable of love. That mysterious thing then suddenly happens. Only a man whose mind is not bogged down under the weight of 1,000 types of influences and conditioning, only that man is capable of love. Yeah? Getting it? And then that lightness, that joy, that freedom cannot even be called a purpose, because all purposes are in future. When you already have it, will you call it a purpose? When you say that X is the purpose of life, then you mean that I am working towards X, right? I want to attain X. Happiness is what you want to attain. Joy is what you already have. So joy cannot be a purpose. It's a purposeless joy. Already there. Be light. Be aware. Be loving. That is the purpose of life. Simple.